The VIX Index is not only the fear index, it's also a tool that can tell us something very interesting regarding the future of markets. Let's start, of course, from the S&P 500. You guys already know, if you follow my webinar since a while, that I think that during the summer we can experience a downward movement of the stock market. But of course, as I told you in the previous videos, this downward movement, I really think if it will come, it will be a short-term downward movement, because in the long run, I'm very optimistic. And I would like to tell you exactly why I'm so optimistic. So let's go here. This is the S&P 500, and let's plot the 20-year chart, and then let me open another forecaster where I plot the VIX index, the SIBO volatility index. And let's plot the 20-year chart. What we see on this chart is something really interesting. The most important lows we had on the stock market are the moment where we had a huge peak of the VIX index, which is the index that track the volatility of the options. And a very important peak is when the volatility index is above 50, okay? And until the 2024, we only had two major peaks in the volatility index, in the VIX. One, it was in 2000, between 2008 and 2009, and the other one, of course, it was in 2020. If we go to the S&P 500, we can definitely see that these peaks on the VIX tell us when the market, the S&P 500, is doing a very important low. Okay, we had it between 2020, 2008, 2009. We had with COVID in 2020. Okay, and this is something really, really interesting, because as you can see, we just had a very important peak here in the very recent period. We had it in April of 2025. It means, in my opinion, that this low we had here, it's one of the most important lows we have in the history of this chart. And this is why I really think this chart can really skyrocket in the next 10 years, because this was one of the major low we only experienced 3 times in 20 years. Okay? And this is something really important, because of course watching this chart is scary, because we can see a chart which grew a lot, so much during the last 20 years. But guys, I really think that in the long run, this chart will continue to grow, thanks to the better economy we will have in the next years, but also thanks to the fact that this was a major turning point we only had other 2 times in the past, in the past 20 years. Okay, if we analyze the market using this technique, we can definitely point out this law as one of the major law we ever experienced on the S&P 500. Okay, of course, we also have another indication, very important indication from the VIX, and this is very simple because we have the confirmation that the uh, the bear market is over when the VIX goes from 50 or above, goes back to 30. Every time in history when we had a peak on the VIX and then after the VIX came back to less than 30, okay, this was the confirmation that the bear market was over. And that's it. And here we are again. Look, we can definitely do a zoom. Here we are. We had a peak above 50, which is something, as I told you, happened only 3 times in the last 20 years. It means we had, of course, also thanks to Mr. Trump, a scary major reboot of the stock market somehow, okay? And then after this peak, we can see that we went back, we see the volatility index going back below 30 here. This is the sign going back to 30 from above 50 that the bear market is over and the new bullish trend is started, okay? If you like this video, I invite you to join our free weekly webinar, an event where I share all the best trading and investments idea for the week. You can find the link in the description, and I invite you also to try the Forecaster Terminal, our software. You can try the software for free. You can find the link in the description too.